mod in here, and then we'll finish up with the not Twitter, with Discord, and that should be good. So, hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is November 1st, and this is the November 1st TextQuest Devstream. So, today we are going to be doing a variety of things. One, I'm going to be talking a little bit about Unite, just to kind of, talk about what I did there and how it was. And I'm also going to, while I'm doing that, be working on some editor tooling, specifically build post-processing. And actually maybe even build pre-processing. So this is going to be fun. Actually, it won't be build post-processing. So we'll be doing build post-processing, and then we'll be making custom build commands to make demos, so that I don't have to constantly, whenever I want to make demos, I basically have to sit here, make a build, walk away for like a minute or two while it makes that, then come back, then switch platforms, then make another build, and then blah blah blah. It's just a bunch of repetition. And what I would like to be able to do is just to be able to make a build or have a little menu option up here that's like file, build settings, or probably not that. It's probably going to be like file, just build demos or whatever, and then it'll automatically just make all of the builds. It'll make the build for the platform that it's currently on. Then it'll switch over to Mac. Then it'll switch over to Linux, and then it'll switch back and make sure that everything's working all right. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. And I forgot to walk on screen, but I will remember to put up coding because that's what we're going to be focusing on today. So to get started, this is going to be a little bit of an oddity because of how we have to handle this. So I'm going to go ahead and go to here, create folder, and we're going to call this build scripts, I suppose. Okay, we're going to create a C# script, and this is just going to be called custom build menus. How about just custom build build demo? I guess that's just going to be what it's called. I don't know what else to call it that. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and open this up. So while it's going on, so last week I attended Unite in LA. And Unite is the big Unity game engine conference in the United States. There are Unites all over the world. I believe there's Unite Europe, Unite Asia, and Unite Australia. There might be one or two others that I'm not sure of. I don't know if there's like I think there's like a Unite Tokyo. That seems right. I could be wrong there. It could just be that they had a Unite in Tokyo at some point. Because Unite moves around. It's never in the. Well, not never. It's not in the same place each year. So, for example, Unite in America this year was, or I guess in North America, I think there might be in Unite South America. Anyway, so this year Unite was in Los Angeles. Last year it was in Austin, Texas. The year before that it was in Los Angeles again, at a different location and a different part of Los Angeles. The year before that it was in Boston. And then I don't know where it was before that because I didn't attend it before then. I know at some point it was in Vancouver. And I think that was like 2009 or something like that. But on the whole point is that it moves around. Anyway, so for this, we're going to go ahead and say public static class build demo. This is going to be in sleepyl.textquest. We're going to say using Unity editor. And for this, I don't think we need anything else, so we're going to go ahead and save that. But I do think we're going to need to have, let's see. No, it's just a menu thing, isn't it? So let's go ahead and say private static void build. I can't call it demos or demo. I can call it build demos though. So we'll do that. Except I can't spell it or use the right brackets. And we're gonna make this just be a menu item. Menu item is just the attribute you can attach to functions to make them have a item displayed in the menus from the top of Unity. And for this, we're going to go ahead and say, what are my options, actually? Can I use one that makes sense? I guess. Let's try file. So we'll say file. Build. Let's do file sleepy l build demos. so if we let that compile, we should, except it's going to give me that. It always gives me that. Well, we'll let it compile before I do anything else. So once that's done compiling, I should be able to come up here to file, and then it'll show up somewhere in here. If it actually lets me write to file, it might not. It's kind of picky sometimes about what it will let you target and won't let you target. So we'll see if it actually lets me do anything with the file menu. I know I can do things with assets, game object. I have not tried component. I know that tools and window work. I'm assuming if I wanted to, I could do send a machine. Actually, I know I could. Okay, so there we go. So now you can see that we have Sleepy Owl here, build demos. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and open this up because it's not actually going to do anything yet. I am going to also do some trickery to make this look a little bit nicer. And this is going to be... Actually, I guess we'll just leave it like that. I was going to try to add a divide, but I don't think I can in the menu that I'm looking at. So we're just going to go ahead and save that. And this is where this process is going to get a little difficult. I guess I can just have this be in that function. So I'm going to do a couple of things, and I've got to try to remember how to do this properly. So I believe we're going to say build settings dot. Okay, so it's not that. It's going to be build demo build pipeline dot current. Is that right? Nope. Target. Okay. It's not application, I'm pretty sure. No, that's target frame, right? Platform. It's runtime platform, so that's close. Editor application, maybe? Platform. Nope. There are like 15 scripts involved in this process, so I gotta remember which one is which. I'm 90% sure it's not actually an application. I think we want to do something like, let's see, what do we have here for build? I'm pretty sure it has the word build in it. I thought it was editor build settings, but maybe it's editor user build settings. Let's see. Active build target. Yes, I believe that's what I want. Okay, so I want build target is equal to that. And then we'll go ahead and say target is equal to build target dot, make sure this is all correct. Cool. So these are all of the various things you can try to make a build for. And not all of these are actually useful. I believe if we look at like OS X Intel, that's deprecated. Yeah. Same with 64. These are all deprecated because standalone USX or OS X, I believe, is the current Mac target basically. Yeah, so all of that is just under the blanket standalone OS X. There used to be, and still I think there kind of is, you could build 32-bit applications. I believe in 2018 they removed that completely, but I'm still in 2017, so that's not really a thing. Well, actually, it is still a thing, so it's something that I need to be mindful of. But for the most part, all I really need to do is just say a couple of things. So we're going to say, what do I want to do? So our current target is what this is going to be called, actually. Current target. And that's just whatever is currently set up inside of our like set up to be targeted by default, like whatever it currently is. So we're going to store that, and then we're going to use it as a reference to know what we should go to next. So we're going to say, actually, we're not going to say switch. We're just going to say if current target is equal to build target dot Windows, and of course these are two different freaking things because they still have 32-bit. Now I only build 64-bit applications. I don't worry about 32-bit applications because 32-bit applications are not standard anymore. They used to be the standard exe file specification, but nowadays pretty much everyone is on 64-bit. Because that's just what hardware is up to now. So I never really consider 32-bit anymore. I did way back at the beginning when I started working on the game, but I don't really worry about it anymore. So I'm going to say if the current target is equal to standalone 64, else we're going to do this. Okay. And we're just going to say, we're going to have another build target up here. So we're going to say build target next target is equal to build target dot, and I'll say standalone OSX because that should be correct. We're just going to say next target is equal to build target dot standalone OSX, same thing. Else we're going to say next target is equal to build target dot standalone Windows 64. That's all good. Okay. Then we're going to have to tell the editor to switch over to the next target. So I want to say editor user build settings dot. See if I can do this. There it is. Switch active build target. Oh, interesting. That's cool. They made it an async function. It used to just be one synchronous thing. That's kind of cool, actually. So let's see if we can get this to work. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. Are you going to be standalone? Okay, good. So I can just make this standalone. I don't really need to worry about this. So we're going to make it the standalone target group with next target as its actual value. Okay. So I'm assuming this returns... Ooh. That's great. Now I don't know what to do there. I'm going to see if this actually has documentation. I've not used this version of it yet. So this is what it currently is. Switch active build target. Please give me a function. Cool. Let's see. True if the build target was successfully switched. False if otherwise. If license check fails, files are missing, or the user has canceled the operation. That's actually probably something I should check for, I guess. So that lets me determine if I have, for example, tried to switch to the Mac module and I don't have, or if I try to switch to the Mac platform and I don't have the Mac module installed for some reason, then it would fail out. So I should have a safety check for that, I guess. So let's go ahead and let's see. The function reimports assets that are affected by the here. All script files are compiled on the next editor update to have scripts compiled before the assets are reimported. Say switch target. Switch active build target async as opposed to switch active build target. Wait, what? I thought I looked. Oh, it's because that's that. Okay, let's go up to here. Okay. Function switches to the past build target as an active build. Same effect to change build target. All script files and assets are affected by the current platform settings are recompiled or reimported on the next editor update. When you change the currently active build target, this function returns. This function is not available when running the editor in batch mode. That's fine. We're not going to be doing that. Hello, Garrett. Welcome back. How are you doing tonight? I am so-so. I was a little sick earlier this week, and I feel much better now. It was not the best time, but I'm back from LA, back from being sick, so everything's coming together. So let's see here. Currently, we are working on setting up our own custom build function so that I can just do a fire and forget build process to build all of my platforms for me, so I don't have to like build one to Mac, then switch, then build one to Windows, then switch, then build one to Linux, then switch. I can just do whatever I want. Okay, so we're going to say function is unavailable. We don't have to worry about that. Patch one of media exit, we don't have to worry about that. Standalone target also affected or usable. That is fine. Okay, so I think we're good here. I've not. Interesting. I didn't realize that there was an interface that you can derive from to get these events. That's kind of cool. I've also not messed with unityeditor.build. I'm very curious about that now. Using unityeditor.build. And I guess we'll just go ahead and just see what this is. So we're going to say unity Failed exception. Interesting. So I guess they're moving to an interface for that? That's curious. Um, it's hot, dry, and windy. Allergies are being mean? Yeah. I I kind of miss California though, because as soon as I got back, it was cold, wet, and windy. And I don't know which is better, honestly. Uh, but hopefully your allergies will die down once things cool off. But then again, I guess you are in California, so that's probably not going to help much. Um, and yeah, I've made a few build scripts at work, but I've never really done them for my own stuff. So I think it'll be fun to just kind of mess around with it a little bit and see what I can get done, see what I can automate a little bit. And apparently, there's a bunch of new stuff in there that I just did not know about. So that's cool. Let's get rid of this because we don't really need it. Let's see here. So we're gonna say, I guess we should store this. We'll say bool switch success is equal to that. And we're going to say if not switch success, we'll go ahead and return, and we'll just say debug.log error failed to switch to target. I guess we'll say it's failed to switch to build target and then plus next target. That should log out a proper message that we understand. And then I'll go ahead, I guess, and grab this, switch here, and we'll switch it back to current target. It should be fine, but we'll do that anyway. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and move these into a separate function because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have two functions that I have exposed to menu items. So I'm going to say private static void build. I'm just going to call this build demos. I know that's going to complain real quick, but we'll see in a second. Bool include Linux. Okay. And this is going to be, we'll say build Mac. Oh, I can't do that. I was going to do that, but that would not work because it would be registered as a break. So we'll say build Mac. I don't remember. I think I can use ampersands and PC demos. That should be fine. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this too. I'm going to go ahead and say demos and then build Mac and PC. And we'll go ahead and come down here. We'll say private static void build all demos. This will be build Mac and PC demos. Let's go ahead and copy this, paste this here. It's going to be build all. So we'll call build demos false, and then build demos true. There we go. I recall they were improving the interface. Yeah, I was talking about build script stuff. Yeah, before it was all like you could do Unity editor dot callbacks dot like post process build and post processing, I guess, but I never really did that. Post process build would basically call that function after a build happened, and you would use that to like move files from your assets folder to the build. And it would more or less, that was basically the process to get that to work. But I guess if they're doing it as an interface, that's kind of interesting. I'm curious. Anywho, so we're going to do this, and we're going to say, so if the switch was a success, then we're going to set about making the build. Oh, which actually reminds me, I should probably do this. Before we do any of this, I'm going to say, oh man, this is going to be fun. Let me think. So we're going to say string path is equal to editor, I believe it's editor utility dot folder, yep, open folder panel, that's what I want. We're going to say our title, which is the title that's going to show up, is just going to be called like build demos. Default folder is just going to be empty. That means it'll go to wherever the last save was for a folder. Default name, might as well just make it text quest, I guess. I don't know if that's actually what I want or not. I might not need to give it a text or a default name, but that's probably fine. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to say if path string dot is null or empty. Nope, yeah, is null or empty path. So if it's a empty path, which is returned if you hit cancel, then we're just going to return. We're not going to do anything. Which I guess I can actually just do in one line. Return. Ta-da! I do my build scripts from the menu. What do you mean? You do your build scripts from the menu? Like you... Do they have an option for doing that? Like if you right click? No, that's post processing. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I mean that's the way to do it, right? Just come down to here, build demos. Although I'm really not crazy that I'm like right next to the exit button. That's gonna dick me over sometime, I'm sure. Um, at the end of 1D, there were so many targets. I was going to move it all into a window with checkboxes. Make a tool. Yeah. Tooling, the ultimate solution when you don't want to deal with anything. Um, okay, so that should actually right now I can show you that. It won't do. It's compiling. So if I go up to File, CPL, Demos, I will say build. Oh, that's hilarious. I thought it would do that. Yeah, so ampersand is actually a key modifier in a lot of this. I guess I can just say build Mac and PC. So if you want to do like, you can create custom shortcuts in Unity, and the ampersand I believe was Alt is what it showed there. So you can say like Alt C, which means that, or you can say ampersand C in the command, which will assign the shortcut Alt C. That's pretty funny. um, uh, yeah, that's true. I could just make a build folder or build one. That would make more sense. I just generally I try to keep this stuff clear, but I guess if it's not a script that other people are going to use, I don't have to worry about it as much. So I can just go ahead and come down here, go to demos, build Mac and PC. So you'll see that it brings up this file select, and then if I wanted to, I could select the whatever file I want, and then if I cancel, nothing will happen because I haven't told it to do anything. Oh yeah, that's an old Win32 GUI thing? What do you mean? Just trying not to clutter things up? I typically just do that because it looks bad. Like design-wise, it makes more sense not to do so. But yeah, I can go ahead and just make this. We'll shorten. That'll actually let me shorten this to build, and then build, so I won't need to have Sleepy Owl there. Okay. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and come down here, and let's go ahead and say, we'll say switch next target. So we're going to say, before I do anything else, let's go ahead and say build, oh right, that's right, case, build target dot, we'll say standalone Windows 64, break, case, build target dot standalone OS X, break, case, that is all it actually could be, is one of those two. We don't have to care about that. And then we're going to say if it's standalone, If it's standalone Windows 64, we'll go ahead and say uh, build pipeline dot, not build asset bundles, build player, I believe. Please use build player options. Okay, that's fine, I guess. There are build player options. Build player options. Options is equal to new. Build player options, which I've not used before. Options. I'm guessing I'm going to have to create that every time I want to do something, so we'll say options dot. I'm guessing there's like path and everything like that. Yep. Cool. So this is going to go to location path name is equal to, let's go to file manager. Okay, cool. Like file util. That's not mine, I don't think. Huh. Can I do path.combine? Nope. Disappointing. So I can just go ahead and do as equal to path plus, we're going to say this Windows, this, and I think that might actually be all I need. Although before I do anything else, I am going to have to go ahead and say, I'm going to come up here and say using sleepyowl.common. I'm just going to go ahead and say if file manager dot, not that, exists. And we'll just go ahead and copy this. So if there is not a directory there, we're going to want to create one. So file manager dot create directory, and then it's going to be that. Okay, make sure that it goes to the right spot. That just ensures that there is actually a folder there, and then we're going to say we want to build there, which I guess I'm constantly doing that, so I probably should. No, that's fine. Okay, so we're going to do build player. Let's see what else I have for options, because I've not done this before. Options dot location path name. Jeez, are you serious? I have to manually build it like this? Wow, that is really frustrating. Target group is equal to standalone. That's all fine. Options dot. I guess it's not too bad. I don't need that though. But I can go to options is equal to build options dot. Let's see. Auto run player, build additional stream scenes, build scripts only, compress textures, connect to host, profile, development, enable headless mode. I don't think I'm going to need any of this really. Strict mode, strip debug symbols, symlink uncompressed asset bundle. Yeah, I don't think I need any of that. So I can just do none, I guess, for thoroughness' sake. Let's see. In yield window 32 days, the name of the menu item can contain an ampersand, which represented the keyboard shortcut. Oh, yeah. Talking about the shortcut stuff. Yeah, it's, I believe, ampersand for alt, and I want to say the octothorpe, the pound symbol for control, I think. Is that right? Maybe shift. And then there's a third symbol for shift, because you can do all of those combinations. I think percent might be the shift one. It's been a while since I've looked at those modifiers. There's a list of them somewhere online, but they can be pretty handy if you're doing a bunch of tooling. Okay, so yeah, the hardest thing here is we're going to go ahead and say options.scenes is equal to editor build settings.scenes. Can I do that? Oh, you suck. Come on. Ah, that sucks. Okay, so I have to manually build that, which is no fun. So let's go ahead, and I guess we can do it right here. Bit of an odd place for it, but I think this will be the best place for it. So we're going to go ahead and say editor build setting scene. Let's go ahead and grab this. Settings. Oh, setting scene. Scenes is equal to that. And then I'm going to have to go ahead and say, actually, we'll call these editor scenes. Editor scenes. And then we'll say string scenes is equal to new string editor scenes. Okay, so I'm going to assume that the scenes I want to build, oh, right, dot length, are probably what I have targeted. I could probably come up with a better system a little bit later where I could have like basically a collection that has all of the scenes I want to be built, and then I could just load that in with editor default resources or something like that. But for now, I think this will work. So we're just going to go ahead and say for int I equals 0. I is less than editor scenes dot length. I'm really hoping that editor scenes does not include inactive ones because it totally could. So I'm going to just double check. I'm going to say if editor scenes of I dot, let's see, poo. Cool. Well, that's dumb. So we're just going to do this. Freaking ridiculous. So we're actually going to move this down to here. And cool, I need to have a list now. So I have to come up here. We're going to say using system.collections.generic. Come down back to here. And we're going to say list. Oops, not lantern. I can't spell list. List string. And these will be build scenes is equal to new list, blah, blah, blah. We're going to say dot enabled. So if it's not enabled, we don't care about it. We can just skip over it. Then we're going to say build scenes dot add editor scenes of I dot, I believe we want path. Yep. I'm going to assume that scenes here can be paths. Yep. Okay, good. So I'm just going to make this equal to scenes, and we're going to make scenes equal to build scenes dot to array. So that'll flatten it out. Well, not really flatten it because arrays and lists are both flat, but it'll make it out to an array. It's been a while is my new mantra. Actually, that's kind of my mantra at work too. Right now, we're getting arms deep into some older projects that we're just kind of either providing last rights support on, or looking to update. And it is not fun working with code from eons ago, like probably 3 or 4 years at this point. Not all of which was my code, so I'm just trying to look through a bunch of old terrible code. We've definitely improved a lot since then, so it's even more frustrating, kind of. Okay, so I think that's all correct. Let's go ahead and what we would just call build player. Cool. And actually, I think I could probably get away with doing this. Come up to here, paste this, move this. I could probably move this over to here, like there. And then at the end here, I can just say options.location path name is equal to that. That all should work. All of this is pretty generic, so I don't really need to worry about it. I could actually probably simplify this a little bit by doing this. I know you're going to complain. Give me a second here. I know. You don't like it. There we are. So, a little bit more clean. I actually don't know if that's more efficient or not. I assume it's not really, but it's, and I mean, any efficiency that would be gained or lost there is minimal. Actually, it's not even minimal, it's negligible. But I always try to do it like this, like try to get them in the constructor as much as possible, just because it's a little bit cleaner, I feel. Anywho, so that's that. Let's go ahead and copy this. Actually, I can go ahead and move this function call down to here. Oh man, I love it when I like block out a chunk of code, and I'm like, wait a minute, I could do this better, and then I just move things around, and I reduce my code redundancy. It's a wonderful feeling. So we're going to go ahead and come up here, paste this, replace this with OS X. OS X. And that should now work. So what we should have as of right now is we should have a function that will attempt to make a build with a specific target based on what your current target is. It'll switch over to whatever the opposite of it is. So if you're in Windows, it's going to target Mac. If you're in Mac or Linux, it's going to target Windows. Actually, if you're not in Windows, it will try to target Windows first. And then the eventual goal is to get it to make all those builds and then just reload into the original target, then make that build finally. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to do a little bit of commenting, actually, just to clean this up a little bit so it's not a huge mess if I come back to this. Grab the current build target and the next build targets. Let's see. Of scenes that will be built. Let's come back down to here. I'm going to say create the build options for the target build platform. Then we'll go ahead and go down to here, and then we're going to do a quick check. Because if we want to build for Linux, then this next chunk of code is going to be building Linux most likely. Because if you're targeting Windows originally, it's going to switch to Mac, then it's going to switch to Linux, then it's going to switch back to Windows. If you're targeting Mac, it's going to switch to Windows, then to Linux, then back to Mac. And if you're targeting Linux, then it's going to switch to Windows, then switch to Mac, and then switch back to Linux. Okay, so for this, we will go ahead and say. So this will build the first target platform. And I should probably run that and see if it works. Which kind of sucks because that's going to be a multifaceted process. Like it's gonna switch platforms, then make a build, and then it would switch back, I guess. But I don't want to do that on stream, so I'm just gonna assume that it works for now. So we're basically gonna write this entire function, and then we're going to assume it will work, and then after the stream is over, I will run it, and then I will let everyone know if it works. So let's see. I think there's some improvement recently where it doesn't rebuild everything if you switch platforms. That might be the case, but I am still in 2017. I'm not in 2018 because of substance-related problems. So I doubt I have that because I can definitely confirm that it totally re-imports everything when I switch currently. G13. I'm going to call that a miss, Palm Tree. So you did not sync anything yet. But welcome to the Devstream either way. How are you doing tonight? Or welcome back, I should say. All right, so we have our first build functioning with massive quotation marks and asterisks. Then, after we do that, we're going to want to switch to our next one. So I'm going to go ahead and say if next target is equal to build target dot standalone OSX. Actually, here's where it gets to be fun. We're just going to go ahead and say if build Linux, include Linux. Okay. Let me think. So I'm going to go ahead and say if next No, no, no. Think. All right. So I'm going to say if not if next target, if current target is equal to standalone Linux, which I'm assuming 64-bit is also super freaking awkward. I don't know if I should build for Universal or for 64-bit. I guess I'll do 64-bit. I just don't know. I assume most Linux machines are 64-bit nowadays, but I guess I'll go ahead and do Linux Universal. That just makes the build size a little bit larger, and I think it makes performance marginally worse, but it's an iffy thing. So for now, I'm just going to be safe. Doing good. You? I am, as always. We'll see how the Devstream goes, but on the whole, I think I'm doing pretty all right. Uh, oh, I should probably talk about Unite because I started doing that at the beginning of the Devstream and I just never actually finished my thought. So I went to Unite last week and not this. I want to say next target is equal to build target dot sx else target is equal to build target dot so I was in LA for about 3 days last week. I flew in Monday night and left Thursday night. Um, attended Unite, which was a mixed bag. The talks were much better this year than they were last year. Last year, the talks were like 30 minutes and they really couldn't go in depth. This year was a lot better. The talks were on average about 45 minutes long, and some of them were actually about some marginally technical things, which was very nice. There weren't as many cool talks as there were a couple of years ago, but we did get some pretty cool talks. There was an overarching theme that one of my coworkers pointed out that Unity had this message of like, look at all these cool new things that you can totally do. By the way, they're not production ready, so don't use them. And he basically said that 2018 feels like a beta for 2019, just because there's not there's a ton of new things in 18, but Unity has this giant asterisk after everything that says in preview mode, not production ready, and that's really dumb. You can't really claim those features are in 2018 if they tell you not to use them. So it was kind of a weird thing. Uh, and yeah, the keynote was super weird. We were talking about it after the fact because they pushed the film stuff really heavily. And that's fine. You know, it's cool that Unity is branching out into film, particularly for real time rendering and for integrations with film sets. But it's really funny because you could tell that the people at the conference were just like clapping politely whenever they did film stuff because it was always like, look at this cool new thing, and you get like the golf clap basically as the thing was coming on, and then you get the golf clap after it was done. But then you had as soon as like Yohim walked on stage and started doing the like, by the way, look at all this crazy stuff you can do, 4.5 million renderers and all this performance optimization. Everyone's like, yeah! It was really funny. Everyone just starts clapping in the middle of the presentation. It was great. But yeah, you can tell that like you could tell when the game developers were just not impressed. It was like, okay, this is cool, but we don't care. And then as soon as actual game development relevant things start happening, everyone's just cheering. It was pretty fun. Um, but it was on the whole a pretty interesting time. I trying to think really. There was no talk that super wowed me. Like there was nothing that gave me great insights. I felt there were a few that had one or two one-off ideas that were nice, but not really anything that snagged my attention. Also, I'm terrible at talking and coding at the same time because I start like gesticulating with my hands, and then but you can't see that. It's just something that I do when I talk. Anyway, so I'm gonna try to code and talk at the same time, which is super weird because that's like two lines of two different ways of thinking. Um, Anywho, I'm actually gonna go ahead and grab this stuff and just kind of move it down again. So takeaway for it mostly was that Unity's in a pretty good space, uh, but most of the stuff that I went to, I did take notes on. If people are curious, check out the Discord because I posted a link to some Google Drive documents with notes that I took. If you want to just see some of the talk notes, feel free to do so. Need to test audio on my build, so I'll be back later. All right, cool. See you later, man. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so let's see here. This is going to be our. Comment this and say, build the Linux target if desired. All right. And all we're going to do here is we're going to say switch next target. This can only be one of two things. It's either going to be that or this. And we're going to say Linux, Linux, Linux. Okay, everything else works great there. And then finally, we are going to just end with... I'm pretty sure this doesn't give me anything back right. Oh, does build pipeline.buildPlayer give me the path to it, I'm assuming? So we're going to go ahead and just say... I suppose I would just do this. So we're going to copy this, paste this down here, and then we're going to say next target is equal to current target. Don't have to worry about it because it's the last build. And do all this fun stuff. Do next target. At this point, it could be any of these, I guess. So we'll go ahead and let's just copy this. And I feel like Linux should probably go below Mac because of status reasons. I don't know. I know it's mean, but... Okay. So that should do everything. Oh, did I actually tell it to switch? I did not. I need to do that. That's kind of important. So we're going to go ahead and copy this. We will paste this right here. That is all correct. Okay. Once we get down here, switch back, same thing. All right, and then we should be able to build to player. And then the last thing I'm going to try to do, I assume I can do this somehow. Let's go to editor utility dot. Can I say open? No. No. Open with default app. That's kind of cool. I would ideally be able to open up the folder that contains all of my builds. So let's see if I can do that. Unity open folder from script. Yeah, show and explore is kind of what I want. Oh, geez. Oh, geez. Really? Okay. Huh. Reveal in Finder. There it is. Okay. I thought there would be something, so it's editor application, I guess. Editor application dot reveal. Okay, apparently that's not a thing anymore. Or editor utility. Okay, that makes more sense. Editor utility dot reveal in Finder. And then we'll just output the path. That should do everything that I want. So in theory, all of this should work. And I'm going to totally cheat here by commenting out pretty much everything except for the path. So what's going to happen is I'm basically going to get a pop-up dialog saying where do I want to build to, and then it will just open up that folder, which is fine. I just want to make sure that that works, and then I'll come back uncomment that, and we will assume that it will work because everything that I code is perfect and has never fucked up once. Excuse me, has never messed up once. Um, hmm. Oh, I almost did forget something that we need to do. Um, One of the other reasons that I want to make this a custom build thing is so that I can. Okay, let's go ahead and come back down to here. Text quest. Let's go to builds. Let's go to test. Let's go to new test build. Boom. Cool. That's not exactly ideal, I guess. Um, but it'll work, I suppose. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and say, come up to here. And now this is where it's gonna get kind of interesting because I'm not sure I can actually do what I'm going to want to do next. Specifically, I need to affect the editor compile settings. So there are compilation flags you can do, so stuff like this, if Unity editor and if, and you could write a block of code there. I'm not sure if that will actually work. No, I didn't think so. I can do like Unity iOS, but you can see that it's grayed out, which means that it's not evaluating as correct. But if I do if Unity editor, it will. Um, I don't know if I can actually adjust these things from build script, but it would be awesome if I can. So specifically, what these are, to show you, if I go to File, Build Settings, Player Settings, and then come down here to Scripting Define Symbols, you can see that we have a bunch of stuff like Unity Post-Processing Stack. I'm guessing that's also _v2, then cross-platform input, all that stuff. If I can add to that from script, which I seriously doubt that I can, because that would mean I would adjust script compilation, trigger a recompile, then continue on with the script, which is not exactly something that's going to be easy to do. So I'm curious. I'll look this up. So we're going to say Unity adjust, what was it, script compilation flags? Scripting define symbols. Adjust scripting define symbols. Code, I do not. I would be amazed if I can do this. Amazing. Okay, well there we go. So I can totally do this. I guess set user specified symbols for script compilation for the given build target group. The second argument defines is a string of preprocessor values. Values that this string contains. Okay. So I don't know if calling this will blow everything away or if I should, whatever. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say if TQ demo and then we're going to say else and if okay. So you can see here right now, if I select this, TQ demo is actually part of that. And what I want to do is when I make demo builds, I want to check if TQ demo is not valid, and if it is, or if it is not, so we're going to do that. If it is not, then we are going to manually add it to it. So I guess we're going to want to say, what was the line? Player settings. Player settings dot set. Actually, let's see if I can do get. I guess it's called get scripting define symbols. Get scripting define symbols for group. Build target group dot standalone. That's all fine. That's the string. So we're going to say string symbols is equal to that. And then we're going to say player settings dot set scripting define symbols for group build target group dot standalone followed by symbols plus Okay, so that should work. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab these, paste them in here, and we only need to do that if it does not already compile to that. Because if it's already compiling to it, then we don't need to add it. It's correct. And that should take care of that. I don't know if I should strip it out. I probably should. So let's go ahead and say bool strip symbols is equal to false. Come back over here. Strip symbols is equal to true. Oops. And then at the very end here, after everything is done, we're going to say if strip symbols that is super awkward. That is super awkward. Which I guess means I would have to do this. String original symbols is equal to frac. Okay. Is equal to this. Okay. I guess I can actually just make this symbols, and then we can get rid of this, and then I can just at the very end here say is equal to symbols. I am not 100% sure how this will actually behave. I don't know if I'm assuming that it just takes a string and sets it. I doubt it appends it or anything like that, which is going to make it a little awkward. But that's not the end of the world. So I can just set it back to whatever it was. And then we'll let that compile. Okay. So. Whew. So that is a fair amount of time spent on one script. How many lines is that actually? I'm curious. 200-ish? 200-ish. Cool. Oh, I should probably. So build the original target platform. Build the secondary target platform. Okay. Well, since I can't actually test this right now due to how long it would take, I can spiff it up a little bit. Specifically, the way I have this set up, if you are targeting Windows when you start this process, it will switch over to target OS X, which is Mac. And if you're targeting anything else, it will switch over to Windows. But what that means is that if we get to the end, and let's say I was targeting Linux for some reason when I did this, it will make a Windows build and a Linux build, not a Mac and a PC build. So what I want to do here is say, let's come down to the final one. Current target. All right. So if current target is equal to build target dot standalone Linux universal. Oh, sorry, that's going to be question mark. If that's the case, then we're going to actually set it to what would I want to switch it to? If you're in Linux, it's going to switch to Windows, so I would want to switch it actually to OS X. Except, no, this is where, okay, yeah, so this is going to get a little bit more complicated. So we're going to say if include Linux or current target is equal to build target dot standalone Linux universal. And then what we're going to do down here is we're going to wrap all of this with if current target does not equal build target dot standalone Linux universal, or current target, oh, not that, or include Linux, then we're going to do all that stuff. Okay, so we're going to come down to here. All right. I think that should actually swap everything out and create all of my folders as you would expect. Except I probably want this to come down to here. I probably should do this because it should switch me back to my current platform regardless. Which I guess I can actually have here. All right. And that means I can come down here. We'll have revealing folder. Cool. So that should allow me to build demos without much effort on my part, honestly. I will probably say switch to the original target platform. All right. After that, we are going to say target is not equal. That all should work. So we don't want to build it if we're not targeting Linux. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so let's let that compile. And I think we can move on from there. Man, the anticipation of knowing whether that's going to work or not is actually kind of killing me. Well, for now, I'm going to go ahead and take a drink. All right. Oh, shoot. Actually, I think something we're going to do real quick is I'm going to add a version number in there. So let's go all the way up to here. Once we have our path to build out to, before I do anything else, right there, we are going to say, I guess we'll go ahead and do it after, sort of like right here. Let's go ahead and say if file manager, manager dot directory exists, and then path plus this plus, let me think, what is this? Versioning utility dot version, which I guess is just that. Build version. What's the, why do I have two different things here? That's not super helpful. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Versus just version, which is the actual. Okay, yeah, that's cool. I guess so kind of the same thing. It's just that this one has editor prefs, which I guess I can just use. So let's just go ahead and call this version. It'll be a little faster, I feel. Okay, so if that directory does not exist, then I want to make it. I'm going to say file manager dot create directory. It's going to be all this fun stuff. Let's go ahead and put that up here. Okay. And then we're going to have all the fun stuff. I might as well go ahead and I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to admit I'm just going to be lazy. So we're just going to go ahead and say string Windows path is equal to this string OSX path is equal to this, and then string Linux path is equal to this. We're just going to go ahead and say it's equal to path plus all of this plus Windows. Okay, let's go ahead and move this. That. All right, so this is going to be OSX and then Linux. Cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. So instead of Windows path, or instead of that, we'll say Windows path. We'll say Windows path. I'm pretty sure that that's fine still. Let's go ahead and replace all of the Windows paths while I'm at it. So Windows path, Windows path, Windows path. Let's go ahead and go to OSX path. Let's copy that, move it down, move it down. OSX. OSX. Oops, almost did that wrong. OSX, and then OSX, 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 cool, and Linux path. Paste that in, paste that in, that, and that. All right. So I think that will handle everything, and now I don't have to worry about making sure all my paths are appended correctly. Let's see. All right. I think we're good. So now we can actually go ahead and let that compile. That should be everything. So final line count is 235 lines for a build script. That lets me build for PC and Mac specifically, or for all demos. And it will append and then strip out the TQ demo scripting compile define if we want, or if it's not there. Excuse me. Okay. Okay. Phew. So that's done. Let's go ahead and real quick. Actually, I am going to go ahead and get rid of TQ demo because I don't need it there. I only need it for the demo, and I want to see if it'll actually let me adjust that while I'm making a build. I'm half expecting it actually to fail out if I do that, but I could be wrong. Maybe it'll actually handle it with grace somehow. Let's see. That's all working. Okay. So let that compile. I am. Let's see. I had a couple of things that I wanted to try tonight in terms of tooling, but I forgot what the second thing was. I should have written it down. Let's see. We have a custom build function now that should let me build both Mac and PC specifically and build all. I guess I could do a similar thing for just building demos, or not building demos, building the full versions. That would probably work. Hmm. 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 I I don't know about that. I an idea. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new script, and these will be uh, build scene collection build scene collection. I spelled that right. Yes. Okay. So this is going to be a scriptable object that contains an array of scenes for the demo build and an array of scenes for the actual build. I think this will do what I want, but before I do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and create one more script because I kind of have to do that. Um, well, I guess I don't have to. I think I can get away with it this way. It's just going to be a little messier, but you'll see what that is. Actually, no, it'll work out just fine. That's a build scene collection. That's what I clicked on, not build demo. Come on. Okay. Oh, it's doing that fun thing. Well, thanks. Thanks, Unity. Thanks a bunch. Great. Now everything's all out of whack. Cool. Build scene collection. Here we are. Let's go over here. Okay. So this is going to be a scriptable object. Cool. It's going to be part of the TextQuest namespace. It is going to be using sleeveyowl.common. Okay. And that's actually all I need for that. So we're going to go ahead and say public string demo scenes is equal to new string, blah, 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 then public string, then we're going to say full scenes, I guess, is equal to new string 0. Let's go ahead and write a header, and we'll say header demos. Oops, gotta use strings there. Demos. Full game. All right, and in addition to that, I am going to also say scene name as our attributes there. Scene name. Okay, and let's go ahead and let that compile. Oh, why did I do that? Because I totally forgot to do this. Create asset menu, and then we're just going to go ahead and say file name is equal to that. Menu name is equal to this. Let's go ahead. We're going to say file name is equal to is going to be build scene collection. Menu name is going to be equal to SOS text quest, and then editor, then build scenes, I guess. Let's go ahead. I'll comment this because I'm trying to do that on all my scripts from now on. Contains paths to scenes that will be included in builds. Okay. We are also going to actually make this be our full name, which is going to be true. All right. And in addition to that, we should be good. So let's go ahead and let that compile. Then while that's happening, I'm going to close this, go back to build demo, and we're going to have, so we're going to do some editor sorcery to get this to behave properly. Because I'm also going to go ahead and do this, bool demo, demos, we're going to call this true, and And I'm basically just going to reduce my effort by copying these over, and then instead of saying build demos, I'm just going to say build standard versions, or I guess instead of demos, it's just going to be build standalone. I guess I don't really know. Or how about release? There we go. Release. That's a good term for it. Okay. So this is going to be build Mac and PC releases. Build all releases. Cool. These are going to be false, and then false and true. Okay. And all we're going to do there is we're just going to say oh, right. Yeah, here's where it gets fun. So I want to say if demos, or actually if not demos, then we're going to do that. Else, we're going to do pretty much the opposite, which is going to be, so we're going to copy this. We're going to do that, and we're going to say if symbols is equal to true, and then we're going to say is equal to symbols. And we'll say, I'm going to keep that up there for now. Not at that. I'm going to say symbols dot replace TQ demo with nothing. We can switch that back. Okay, we're going to come all the way back down to here. And that's actually fine, I think. I don't think I need to worry about it. All right. So now it should be possible for me to make both release and demo builds, in theory, without having to worry about it. Oh, but I do need to target my my proper scenes, and that's where this gets a little more convoluted. So I'm going to come up to here, and I'm going to say private static, what did I call it? Build scene collection. Scene collection instance. And then I'm going to say private static build scene collection instance. Get at the very end, we're going to say return scene collection instance with a lowercase s, and we're just going to say if scene collection instance is equal to null, then we're going to say this is where it's going to get fun. Scene collection instance is equal to asset database dot load asset at path build scene collection. Actually, no, that's not quite right. We're going to get to that in a second. First things first is going to be string array paths is equal to asset database dot find assets, I believe. Yep. And the filter is going to be t colon, and then build scene collection. So asset database dot find assets lets you programmatically search through assets in the projects folder, and I can use that to basically load up an asset of a specific type without knowing what its path is, because I shouldn't care about its path. I shouldn't care where in the project it is. I should just care if it's in the project. And all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to say, okay, so if paths.length is greater than 0, then that means that there is one. So I can go ahead and come up to here, and I can say scene collection blah 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 is equal to that load asset at path, and then here's the fun part: I got to call asset database dot GUID to asset path from paths of 0. One more. All right. So what these lines of code are doing is find assets is finding the paths to all assets in the project that are of type build scene collection. once I have those, I only care about the first one because I don't actually care if there are multiple. I just want the first one, since I don't intend for there to be multiple ones. And then I will say I want to load the asset at that path. But what these paths are returned as is not the actual path locally from assets to wherever. It's the GUID of the asset. So I have to call asset database.GUID to asset path to convert the GUID to an asset path that I can then load to find the asset or to get the asset. It's just so many steps. But that essentially allows you to load any asset of any type in any location in the project as long as it's there. And then once I have that, I can come back down to here. And here's where it gets fun. So I'm going to say if scene collection instance is equal to null, then we're going to do pretty much all of this. Oh, that sucks. I hate when I do that. So we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to move this over to here, and then we're going to move this up to here. We're just going to say equals new string array of nothing. And then else, we're going to say scene zip. Actually, hold on. If demos, I can actually just do scenes are equal to scene collection instance dot demo scenes, else scenes are equal to scene collection instance dot full scenes. And actually, I'm going to rename that, now that I think about it, to release scenes. Peek this. Let's go ahead and move those. They're above it. Okay. All of that work. And then I'm instantly going to cause it to recompile again. Okay, you didn't. Whatever. Okay. And once that compiles, I should then be able to create the actual asset, and then I can populate it. And then from there, we're just going to assume that it works because there's not really much else that I can do. But that should be a pretty robust tool that will look for specifically the demo scenes that I want to be built in an asset that I made. Sure, now you do that. Go figure. So I can go up here to create, SOS, text quest, editor, build scenes. So you can see that we have all of these. Let that finish compiling before I do anything with it. And I should just be able to select all the all the scene paths that I want. All right. So I think I have like 8 right now. Let's go ahead and say file, build settings. Yep, 8. So we're gonna do 8 here. We're gonna have. Why do you do that to me? Oh, that's right. It's because I don't need that. I'm dumb. I'm stupid. Let's go ahead and open that up. That just makes it way harder. So I'm actually going to make that not be true. I'm just going to ignore that. Because I do want the path to the scene, but I misremembered how I set up my own freaking attribute. I don't want it displayed as an actual path with all the slashes and all that. I'd prefer just to have the names be selectable. Although actually it might not matter now that I think about it. Well, we'll see. All right, so we want it to be splash fade, main menu, castle, castle exit, sewers, sewer combat, demo end, and benchmark. Oops, yeah, there we go. Do I have you? Yeah, So if I hover over these drop downs, it'll show you the actual path to it. Um, Now, the only downside to this is that if I ever move these scenes, I just need to make sure to come back and look at this so that it updates everything properly. Okay, so with that, I have a lot more. I'm not going to worry about release scenes for now. I mean, I guess I could do like the basics. Main menu, castle, exit, sewers, combat. What's funny? Oh, right, castle. I was like, what's castle exit? Oh, yeah, I remember now. I don't want to tell you guys, though. We don't have demo end. We don't have to care about that. Instead, we're going to go straight to benchmark, and then we're also going to go to planes. Might as well, just to have fun with it. Actually, let's go ahead and bump this up to 10. So we're going to do planes, cabin. We'll do grove. Let's go to 12. Canyon. Actually, let's just go to canyon. And then, no, let's go to woods. Then grove. Then to canyon. There we go. All right. So that all works, and I can't show it to you on the stream because it's a process that will take a while. So, what to do? Well, we might call it a little early then because I'm really curious about this, and I'm 90% sure that I've done this correctly, and I'm pretty sure that this will be pretty robust. But I do want to test it to make sure. So I think we're going to end a little early. It's only about 8:30, and normally I stream for 2 hours, but I think an hour and a half is fine. So I'm going to, after I sign off, I'm going to go ahead and test this tool, make sure that it works. I will post in the Discord the results, and hopefully it'll work in one go. I will be ecstatic if it works in one go, actually. And let's see, any announcements? I might not be streaming this Saturday. We'll see how my schedule shakes out. It's kind of in flux for Saturday, so I cannot promise anything. So keep your ear to the ground on that. Check out the Discord and the Twitter and stuff. I'll keep everyone apprised on my situation. Aside from that, I think I'm pretty clear for the rest of the year in terms of things like travel and conventions. For the most part, there's obviously family obligations and all that during the holidays, but aside from that, I don't have any conventions left. I'm pretty sure, unless I missed one, but I'm pretty sure I'm done. So hopefully no more big drops in content for a while. I think it'll just be me putting my nose to the grindstone and all that, just getting everything back in order, and just getting back into the swing of things. So that'll be pretty nice. So let's see. That's pretty much it in terms of announcements. So as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.